are students from Haldia Institute of Technology and Meghnad Saha Institute of Technology, along with Techno India Group in Kolkata. I hope all of you and your loved ones are doing well and staying safe during this global pandemic. Before I begin my conversation with Parshwa, I would like to tell you the purpose behind making this platform and how an aspiring student can benefit from it. The platform serves as a medium to connect aspiring student with existing student as expert from different universities all across the globe. When a student decides to pursue higher education abroad, there are tons of questions that can come in his or her mind. Some of these questions include, but not limited to, GRE preparation, selection of coursework, university selection, applying for financial aid, on-campus job, cultural aspect, climate, etc. In this context, getting the right information to make the correct decision is critical for a student. Through the ConnectBud platform, aspiring student can directly get in touch with existing student and gain information and insight into the university they are interested in. Having gone through the process once, the existing student can provide insight into various questions that aspiring student might have that cannot be obtained by private agencies. Today, we focus on one such expert from Santa Clara University, and he completed his master's in information systems. Let me take this opportunity to thank you all for taking off to participate in this webinar session. As we proceed in the webinar, the aspiring student can leave their comments or question in the Q&A chat box at the bottom. So Parshwa, thank you for joining. How are you doing?
I'm doing great, Babita. Thank you for this opportunity. How are you?
I'm good. So let's begin with your educational background. Tell us from where did you do your undergrads and what was your subject of specialization back then? And when did you decide that you have to go abroad to do your master's? What was the inspiration behind?
Absolutely. So I did my bachelor's in computer engineering from Vishwakarma Government Engineering College, which is located in Ahmedabad, Gujarat. And I thought of pursuing my master's sometime around my fourth or fifth semester. As we progress in our bachelor's, there are different routes we think to proceed with, one being probably doing a job after bachelor's directly or pursuing master's in India or abroad. And the motivation behind pursuing master's abroad was uh, basically getting exposed to newer opportunities and newer experiences. So that motivated me to pursue that route.
Okay. And why did you choose Santa Clara University in specific?
Yeah. So looking at different courses, I was interested to pursue a master's in information systems, and I had preferences for location, specifically being the Bay Area. And Santa Clara University had this information system course, which was one of the good universities in the Bay Area. So considering the combination of location and the course I was interested in, Santa Clara was one of the good fit for me.
Okay. And is this university a private university or a state university? If you
Yeah,
can
this is
talk a
a
little
private
about
university.
that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mhm.
So it's a private university.
Correct.
Okay. And what do you think in terms of coursework? How different is it in US compared to the coursework that you had in India?
Yeah. In United States, when we think of the coursework, there are mainly two aspects in which it differentiates from the coursework I did in bachelor's from India. One
Mm-hmm.
is a little bit more of practical aspect, which is industry focused, which means
Mm-hmm.
the courses that we learn apply directly to our industry, applies directly to the industry which we are planning to work for. So for example, uh, I pursued courses related to data science, which applies
Mm-hmm.
today in my job, which is a great aspect. And second is flexibility of the courses. You are not uh, supposed to take only few courses that are offered by the university. You have the flexibility to choose few courses from other schools inside the university and take
Mm-hmm.
few courses from your own school, which helps you basically gain more expertise on the areas you're interested in. So those were the two
Okay.
aspects different from.
All right. And do you suggest any financial planning for a student who wants to self-fund their education in United States? And also, if you can talk about some financial institute or banks.
Mhm. Yeah, this is definitely one of the very important factors we need to consider when planning to study abroad. Financial aid, making sure that we are aware of what the financial amount would be for the duration of your masters is important. And that's not
Mm-hmm.
just the fees of the university, but including the uh, place to stay, the routine lifestyle necessary costs included based on the location that we are staying, right?
Mm-hmm.
And um, yes, there are a few financial institutions that provide education loans. I'm aware of one being HDFC Credila, and of course there are many other banks that provide such financial aids.
Okay. And how much does it cost to study in Santa Clara University in specific to the coursework that you did when you graduated?
Yeah, uh, the course fee is around $50,000 to $55,000 for 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
And in addition, we have to pay for our living costs, which are in addition.
Okay. And from your experience, I want you to tell our viewers how much time should a student invest when it comes to preparing for the GRE or the TOEFL exams?
Yeah. Uh, those exams, first of all, are very important, and getting a good score in those exams uh, increases your probability of getting admitted to a university is a lot. So
Mm-hmm.
I would recommend spending a good amount of time, but if you think about the average time that's required, if you don't have any
Mm-hmm.
other commitments and if you're just focusing on the preparation, it can be done within 2 months to 3 months. But if you have some other commitments, like if you have a job that you are pursuing, or if you are currently pursuing your bachelor's and studying for the exams, I would recommend giving at least 4 to 6 months to prepare for this both exams.
Okay. And also, I want you to talk about um, any tips or suggestion that a aspiring student should follow in case if they really want to score good in a short period of time in these exams.
Uh, Yes, there are few good crash courses available online. I know of a
Mm-hmm.
few websites. One is called Magush, and other is Manhattan. So they provide some good crash courses that you can finish within few weeks at your own pace and
Mm-hmm.
give the exam. So that might be helpful if you are planning to do it at your quickly at home online. That might be a good way. Yeah.
Okay. And do you recommend any coursework for aspiring student to improve their chances of getting financial assistance from university?
Uh, from my perspective, I'm not sure if coursework specifically help for financial aids, because, and especially, probably talking from the perspective of Santa Clara University, where
Mm-hmm.
they focused on GPA of your or CPA of your bachelor's. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
give financial aids, and it differs by university. Some universities focus on GRE, TOEFL scores, or some universities focus on your job experience. And based on that, they provide these financial aids or scholarships to the students. Courseworks probably might help, but I'm not aware. These are the few factors I'm aware of that play a part during financial aid.
Okay, and also I want to tell our viewers that in case if they want to ask questions to Parshwa, feel free to ask your question in Q&A chat box at the bottom, and Parshwa will be answering those on behalf of all of us. So let's talk about some book. Would you like to recommend books that can help students score better in these exams?
Yeah, there are a lot of books, and again, few of the books are from Manhattan. There's a book by Norman Lewis, which is called NL, that has a lot of words that can be used to prepare for your English section of GRE. But there are actually a lot of other resources online as well, and one which I specifically love is Magush, that has flashcards and few other online templates that you can leverage to prepare for your exams. So yeah.
Okay. So that should help aspiring student. Now let's talk about some cultural aspect of studying in US. Tell us what kind of cultural aspect that you found interesting when you were in Santa Clara University.
Yeah, one of the aspect is diversity and inclusion. I mean, this United States is a place where you find people from different countries speaking different languages, having different cultures. Every other person is in the same class, so you get exposed to these different people and can learn a lot from them. So, and of course, these are all smart kids, right? So you get a chance to uh, engage with them, learn from them, not just from the academic perspective, but even from the lifestyle perspective, how they uh, have their own cultures and things like that. So diversity is something which is a good
So
experience.
a lot of cultural things to kind of develop taste for and learn. Okay, so we have a question from Roshan, and he wants to know how much did you spend monthly apart from university fee, and is there any way one can earn while pursuing masters in United States?
Yeah, that's a great question, Roshan. Um, Usually in Bay Area is relatively costly compared to other, and when I say Bay Area, I mean areas like California and places around. That is relatively costly to live. So your monthly costs come around $500 to $600. That includes your rent as well as your food and travel, etc. That would pretty much be it. And there are ways to earn along with your masters. One is on-campus jobs, where you can work part-time, which is around 20 hours a week, and you get paid around $10 to $12 per hour from the university. So that pretty much helps you cover those $500 to $600 monthly costs.
Okay, and we have a question from Shayan Pal, and he wants to know from you that he's currently a student of third year doing his bachelor's in technology, and he wants to know when will it be better to give the exams of GRE. Is it good while he is, doing his BTech, or is it fine that once you're done with the BTech, you take a break of 2-3 months and prepare for these exams? What would be the right approach in your opinion?
I would say go ahead and start preparing right now, because these exams have a good validity period of 2 years and 5 years. If I'm correct, sorry, 3 years and 5 years. If I'm correct, TOEFL is probably 2 to 3 years and GRE is 5 years. So I
Mm-hmm.
mean, you can always give one attempt while you are pursuing your bachelor's by studying in a good way. And if you think your marks or score wasn't up to your expectation, probably you can, once you finish your bachelor's, you can spend some good amount of time specifically
Okay.
focusing on it again and giving it. But yeah,
Okay. And this Debojit Mishra wants to know if you can tell about the entire process, right from application to what else has a student needs to do till the time they go and join the college. And he also specifically wants you to talk about visas.
absolutely. Yeah, it might feel a bit overwhelming when you are just getting started, but
Mm-hmm.
once you start, it gets easier and easier. So the first step is to start preparing for exams and clearing the exams. And the two exams are, one is GRE and second
Mm-hmm.
can be TOEFL or IELTS. The most of the universities accept both the one or the other exams, so or even both the exams. So you can either give TOEFL, either give IELTS. That's fine. And once you finish giving your exams and you're satisfied with the score, and if you don't want to
Mm-hmm.
reappear for the exams, you can now start applying for like first researching for universities, which is relatively a challenging task because in United States has like hundreds and thousands of universities across states, and you want to make sure that you apply to the right university, which is not a lot more ambitious than your score, as well as not a very low grade compared to your scores. You want to apply to the right universities, right? So you can, and this is the time where you can go on the platforms like ConnectBud and talk to different experts, understand what their profile was and which universities they applied for. And once you get a little bit more clarity on which university is right for you, you apply for those universities by submitting your scores, by writing essay, that sending some letter of recommendations from your professors or from your managers in the company. And once you send that, universities do some evaluation process, which goes around 2 to 3 months. And within 2 to 3 months, they would reply saying whether you got an admit or reject. Once you get an admit from the university you want, they provide you a letter called I-20, and you take that I-20 letter to apply for your visa. And once you get a visa appointment, you go there, provide your passport, provide your I-20 letter. They ask some basic questions like what was your score in GRE, how did you perform in your bachelor's, do you have any experience, why did you choose this university and not any other university. These are the few common questions that the visa officer would ask. And if, honestly speaking, you don't have to be worried a lot about visa interviews because you did all the hard work before that. That's just like a checkbox. You go there, tell what you did, and if if you you most probably would end up getting your visa. So that's the complete process. Happy to dive deep into any specific part of this and answer in more detail.
Okay, so once the visa is granted, they can, go ahead and decide whether they have to join in the summer or in the winters, and then do it accordingly. Okay, and also there's one interesting question which has come up. Can I get a job in US after I complete my master's, and how much time is provided? How much time is needed to find one? And I want you to answer this question, Parshwa, keeping the current scenario, how
Hmm.
it is different from, from the time when you graduated, and how, because of Corona, how things have changed.
Definitely. Yeah. Yes. First, to answer, once you finish your masters, you are allowed to do full-time job, and that's based on something that they call OPT, optional practical training. Once you get your H1 visa, and once you get your F1 visa, which is the student visa, uh,
Mm-hmm.
and you finish your masters, you have the ability to work full-time based on the OPT, which is called optional practical training. And Usually students start searching for full-time jobs around 6 to 8 months before their graduation, so that
Mm-hmm.
hopefully they end up getting a job once they graduate and they can start working as soon as possible. Talking about the current scenario, of course, it's very unpredictable considering how things are going. But there, like, yeah, if we think from a very broader level, the competition has increased, as well as a lot of companies are in debt or are not having a good financial stability.
Mm-hmm.
But we should not generalize that. There are a lot of companies that are doing great. For example, Amazon, Microsoft, and few others. If you see the stock price, they are like all-time high. And the reason being that even though there's pandemic going on, but the few of the industries like these are performing great, like online retail or cloud, uh, the cloud vendors like Microsoft and Amazon, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they are actively hiring even right now. If you go to their careers page, you would see hundreds of job openings right now, and they are actively interviewing. So if you have good talent, if you have done your masters from a good university, um, you would end up getting a job. So don't need to worry. Of course, there would be a little bit more struggle probably compared to things before the pandemic, but if you do hard work, you end up getting a good job. So
Okay. And I want you to tell our viewers, on an average, how much time does it take to pay back the loan that you've taken from the bank
mhm.
once you get into job?
Yeah, usually you end up paying your job within 1 to 1.5 year of you starting your job. It doesn't take,
Mm-hmm.
ideally if you are saving it in a good way, you would end up paying it in 1 year. But even if you are not
Mm-hmm.
saving in a ideal way and you want to spend a lot once you start your job, that's fine. Even then you'll be able
Mm-hmm.
to repay your loans within 1.5 year of your job.
Okay. So in terms of return on investment and exposure to a different to a first world country would be a
Mhm.
good thing to do, even though it comes with a higher price tag. Okay. Now
Absolutely.
let's talk about the process of admission. We have another question from Devojit, and he wants to know that is the process of admission which you spoke about in United States similar when it comes to country like Canada or in Europe if a student wants an admission? So it's the same process that they have to undergo, or it changes with different places?
Uh, it's on a high level, it's relatively the same. Of course, things might change. Like in Canada, you don't need to appear for GRE, you just need your IELTS exam score. But yeah, you give your exams, you apply for you need to apply to different universities, you get an admit, you apply for your visa, you get your visa,
Mm-hmm.
uh, go to the respective country. So yeah, in that sense, it's the same, but the details might change, like the exam that you give, or sometimes the in the visa process you don't have to go in person and you can just get your visa online or just by submitting a form. So those details might change, but in overall it's the same process. Yeah.
Okay. And we have another question from Dimpy, and it's fairly long. She wants to know that when would I apply for a loan application for my master's? Should it be after clearing the GRE exam, or should it be after getting an admit from specific university? And also, how long does a university give time to take the admission?
Right. Yeah, that's a good question. Uh, you don't need to apply for loan while you're preparing, or even if you once you get your score from GRE and TOEFL, you only
Mm-hmm.
need to apply for loan when you before you go for a visa interview. That's when they would ask, like, how are you going to pay for your college fees? Are you going to pay on your own? Are your parents sponsoring? If not, is there any financial institution that has given you loan? So
Mm-hmm.
only then you need to give that proof. Before that, you don't need to worry about any such things. You can apply to universities without applying for loan, and you can get a admit from the university without applying for loan as well. It's only during the visa interview.
So it's after you get admitted that you have to apply for a loan, not before that. And
Mhm.
how long does a university give in terms of time if you need admission and you have to come and join the university?
Yeah. So let's say you get an admit for the coming fall, which is around July August time frame. Uh, you can they once you get an admit, they usually give you like and it's relatively dependent on each and every university, but they usually give you like a month or two to decide on whether you want to join that university or not. And sometimes they also defer you to the next semester or something like that if you feel that you want to join in December and not in summer, I mean, not in July, that's fine.
Mm-hmm.
You can request that and they would give you, uh, like they would postpone your admission to the next semester. You can do those type of things too.
Okay, and let's talk about cultural aspect that you really found difficult when it comes to adjusting to United States, especially being a person with a brown skin tone. So,
Mhm.
did you face any kind of discrimination, or you had some adjustment problem because of your being from India or not being a native of United States?
Mhm. Fortunately, no, I didn't face any personal challenges with respect to inequality, with respect to race or something like that. Uh, Everything was smooth in that sense. Of course, there are few challenges in culture uh, like food, which can be a challenge. You might not end up getting good Indian food
Mm-hmm.
in any second restaurant, especially if you're living in some remote locations. Finding an
Mm-hmm.
Indian restaurant is relatively very difficult. So yeah, you might face few of those challenges. And of course, talking about culture, you are literally doing all your work on your own, starting from cooking your food to cleaning the utensils, so which you might not have done in India a lot. So
Yeah.
yeah, there are such few challenges you might face, but in and all, I didn't face any bigger challenges like inequality or things like that. In that sense, it's fine. You don't need to worry about.
Okay. And I want you to talk about Indian Student Association, as this association, every university have one of this association. And how does it help Indian student when it comes to cultural adjustment or in general, adjusting
Yeah,
to coursework and, finding apartment and all those things? To what extent do
absolutely.
these association help?
I think these associations help a lot if considering the life cycle of your masters in United States. These are all seniors that have been in the university from a while, so they know about the culture, they know about the surroundings and things like that. So
Mm-hmm.
I have seen a few of my seniors coming and who are part of this Indian Student Association. They come to receive you at the airport as well if you require. They help you find accommodations. They help you decide the coursework that you would need for the first semester so that you are not lost in the uh, all the havoc that's going on. And
Mm-hmm.
all and yeah, there are a lot of different cultural events, like they celebrate Diwali, they celebrate Holi and a lot of other
Mm-hmm.
events, so you feel a lot homely when you
Mm-hmm.
are with these associations. So yeah, it's really very, very helpful across your span of masters. Yeah.
Okay, and one of our participants want to ask, what is the best time to give GRE exam and start applying for university? Is there any best time?
Yeah, I would recommend once you finish the first 2 years of your uh, bachelor's, and as you start your third year, which is I believe fifth semester, start looking at the different websites or some courses that you can leverage to prepare for your GRE and TOEFL. Start looking at the courses that you might be interested in to pursue your masters in. So starting fifth semester, you should, it's a good idea to do some research at least. And
Mm-hmm.
by the sixth semester, you should be ready to give your exams. So that in the last year of your bachelor's, you just have to worry about applying to different universities and getting an admit.
Okay, and let's talk about taking internship in fall or summer, keeping climate and weather as one of the factors. So what do you think should be the right time to take admission, especially admission in West Coast versus East Coast? Is there some kind of
Mhm.
difference or a protocol that a student should follow?
Yeah, yeah. That of course in West Coast, which is California and the surroundings, the weather is relatively uh, very nice, I would say, because the summers are pretty moderate as well as the winters are moderate. It's not too extreme. And East Coast, like New York and the surroundings, you might find winters a little bit more extreme because there's no um, snowfall around every 2 days kind of thing. But
Mm-hmm.
yeah, it's fine. Your first winter might uh, be a little bit difficult, but as years pass, you pretty much get used to it. So I won't. If you are getting admission from, if you're getting admission from a good university in the East Coast, you should not worry about whether and probably take admission to some other university in West
Yeah.
Coast, right? So it's fine. You will get accustomed to it. Just go ahead and don't worry about the weather. It's not too extreme. Yeah.
Okay. And now that we're talking about weather, tell us about the weather in California, as your university is there, and I believe your initial job was also there, right, in
Correct.
Silicon Valley. So tell us
Hmm.
how good is the weather? Talk a little about weather.
Yeah. In Silicon Valley, in California, the weather is great. There's hardly any snowfall, so you don't feel too cold in winters, and in summer as well, it doesn't go that extreme. It stays around 30, 35 degrees, which is fine. Uh, So yeah, I love the weather of Bay Area, and I would say it's one of the best places in terms of weather to live in the United States.
Okay. All right. And Parshwa, where are you right now? Are you in California still, or
Yeah. I am in Austin, Texas,
you're in Austin,
in the
Texas?
central
Okay.
coast. Yeah.
And let's talk about the research paper. A lot of time it becomes very crucial, but how important are research paper in terms of getting admissions in masters?
Yeah. Uh, I personally did not have a research paper to submit during my applications, but
Mm-hmm.
and honestly speaking, more than 80 to 90% of the applicants don't have that. So if you are a candidate who has such research papers or publications, that would definitely differentiate you from others. Um, as the if university is getting 100 applications and out of that only 5 or 6 applications have research papers, yes,
Mm-hmm.
you are one of that. Absolutely, it would help you make your profile a bit more stronger and increase your chances of getting an admit. So definitely, if you are looking to pursue that, uh, it's a good idea.
Okay, and we have a question from Ronnie, and he wants to know what all document you need to have when you apply for student loan from any of the bank.
Hmm. Uh, I might. It's been a long time, so I don't have it at the top of my head, but
Mm-hmm.
happy to happy to look into it and get back to you on what papers you might need for loans. Yeah.
And also, you can all our audience can reach out to Parshwa and other expert by registering to connectbud.com to ask this question, or you can also ask questions as this platform is entirely free for asking question, and expert from different university would be more than happy to help you with the right answer. So Parshwa, tell us about the job prospect for student when they graduate from Santa Clara University.
Yeah, job prospects are definitely, I would say, good because around 80 to 85% of the students end up getting their job within the next 3 months of graduating.
Mm-hmm.
And these job usually companies are good with a decent salary. So yeah, it's a good ratio. There are exceptions where 10 to 15% of the students might have to struggle a bit longer to get a full-time job. But within few months, they also end up getting a job in United States.
Okay, and tell us about the companies who hire students from your university in
Yeah,
specific.
yeah. So, so every university has a concept of career fair where
Mm-hmm.
there are different companies that come have a specific job opening and they're looking for candidates to fill those openings. Well,
Mm-hmm.
and even if there are these companies, they might have few restrictions that they don't provide sponsorship, which means they don't give you H1 visa, and it's only
Mm-hmm.
for citizens or things like that. But even though there are good companies like Facebook, Oracle,
Mm-hmm.
Google that come to Santa Clara University with different job openings, and if there's a job opening that sponsors H1 visa,
Mm-hmm.
definitely that would help you interview for those and get a chance to full-time job.
Okay, and tell us about the company who hired you when you graduated in 2018.
Yeah, I got a full-time job offer from Oracle, uh,
Mm-hmm.
and that so I interned at or did my internship at Oracle as well when I was doing my
Mm-hmm.
master. And one during my internship, I was looking at different full-time jobs inside Oracle, and I got there was a cloud engineering position that I was interested in, and I applied,
Mm-hmm.
did the interview, and was able to
Mm-hmm.
get the job from there.
Okay. And during this pandemic, do you have any suggestion in particular for students who are wanting to apply to uh, universities in United States, specifically to Santa Clara University?
Yeah. Um, and as I said, it's a very unpredictable situation. And the reason why I
Mm-hmm.
say that is because even a lot of universities are right now struggling to decide what to do
Mm-hmm.
because uh, they might, there are a lot of universities are looking for some online classes where they might
Mm-hmm.
just teach you online for the first semester and then call you on the campus for the masters. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
so I might my personal suggestion might be that you might have want to wait for 6 months if they're just providing online classes and then
Mm-hmm.
start your master probably 6 months later.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason is because I mean, if it's just online classes, you can
Mm-hmm.
even look for some good websites like Coursera and Udemy.com, where the professors from Stanford also teach you for just $10. So
Okay.
why spend so much money around thousands of dollars and when you have to
Mm-hmm.
stay at your home and study and not get the experience of how things are in the United States? So probably, uh, but it's a great opportunity for you to brush up your skill sets and be prepared
Mm-hmm.
to pursue your masters after 6 months. Because as I said, it's going to be a very challenging journey, but a rewarding journey as well
Mm-hmm.
once you finish your masters. So get ready, be prepared, do some certifications, do some courses related to your masters, prepare for GRE, TOEFL, whatever, and just be ready so that as things settle down and the
Mm-hmm.
corona pandemic lowers itself, you are ready to just get into the United States.
Okay, now let's talk about your GPA. I have a question. If I don't have a good C GPA in BTech, is it difficult to get admission, and what CGPA does a university in United States need at average?
Mm. Yeah, I mean, when you say not good GPA, it's relative, but usually having a GPA of 7 or above out of 10 should be fine for most of the universities, except you are targeting uh, Ivy League universities like Stanford or MIT. They might, of
Mm-hmm.
course, need a very high GPA as well. But for talking in general about most of the universities, including Santa Clara University, having a GPA of 7 or above is fine. Or even, I mean, if you have a good GRE score and the GPA is
Mm-hmm.
around 6.5, that's fine. Don't get demotivated to apply to the universities. It's absolutely fine. If you have something more stronger than the other thing, you do still have a good chance of getting an admit. So
Okay. And also, since every student in United States later on wants to be sponsored for H-1B visa. So if a company do not sponsor H-1B visa, how to find about it, and how much sense does it make to work for that for such company?
yeah, uh, it happens. Few companies have positions that do not sponsor H1 visa, which is
Mm-hmm.
fine. And as we discussed, it takes you 1 or 1.5 year to pay back your loans. And even without your H1 visa, because of your F1, you have the capability of working for 3 years in United States. Uh, Considering, assuming the fact that your master's degree falls under STEM, which is science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. So if you
Mm-hmm.
are doing some computer engineering or information masters in information systems, all those courses
Mm-hmm.
fall under STEM degree, and that allows you
Mm-hmm.
to work for 3 years in United States without H1 visa. So of course you are going to pay back your student loans. You are going to have some good saving as well, and uh, even if that company is not sponsoring visa, at least you work for that for 1 or 2 years and continuously keep on searching for other jobs that sponsor your
Mm-hmm.
H1 visa, or look for some openings internally in that company that sponsor H1 visa, and doing so you end up getting a job that sponsors H1. So,
Okay, so in a in a nutshell, in case if you get into any of the STEM courses, you will still be able to repay the loan that you have taken, irrespective if a company files your H-1B or not, right, Parshwa?
correct.
Okay. All right. So this was really interesting, Parshwa, and I would like to take a walkthrough uh, of our platform to our audience so that they know how they can register and sign up and can get connected with you and the other experts who are already there on our platform. So this is our uh, uh, UI page, and as you can see on the right side you can click on login button, and if you're a new user you can just register with your Facebook or with your Google account. And also when since I'm already a registered user, you can just log in and see the main page has a lot of expert who have answered questions for the aspiring student. And on the left hand side, there are the list of expert that you can kind of choose. And at the bottom, you have a discover more button in case if you want to keep looking for more expert. And since Parshwa is our guest today, so let's look for Parshwa. And so Parshwa, as you can see his educational detail, and I also want to tell the aspirant that only and only college email ID could be used for signing into the platform if you are an expert. So that's how we make sure that the no XYZ person is sitting there as an expert. So there's a button of connect below Parshwa's profile. You can connect with him, and this platform becomes a medium for chatting with Parshwa and then eventually hiring him. And there are a lot of questions which are related to Santa Clara University that Parshwa has already shared with the aspiring student, which would give a lot of valuable insight in terms of knowing more about university. And then when we click on the ConnectBud button, you go back to homepage, and then there you can post or find any question. So let's see, what is the salary after masters, or what is the I mean, there are tons of questions that you can choose from, and you click on it, and then you get a lot of, you know, what is that you like most about MIT. So we have a student from MIT who has answered this question for all our aspirant. And then we have, there's a My Chat button, and also, once you click onto it, it shows that you haven't chatted with anyone. This could be done once you get connected with any of our experts. And going back to our home page, you can just log in by typing www.connectbud.com. So this is what is the overall picture of our platform, and I would ask our audience to send us the questions in case if they have when it comes to ConnectBud platform, anything that they want to ask me or Parshwa about it. Since I and Parshwa are talking, I would like to talk about some of the very famous, very popular question that aspirant ask on our platform is that how do experts have time, especially when they're studying or when they are in job? How do they find when it comes to how do they find time when it comes to helping aspiring student? So Parshwa, tell us about it, in case if someone wants to connect with you and hire you, how would you be able to help them and manage your time?
Yeah, when I think of time management, it's always about priorities. When someone says, I don't have time, it just means that they have other things more prior than giving you the time of whatever they want. So for me, helping others to pursue the path that I had pursued before is one of the prior things, because it helps. Because when I was planning to do my master's, if I had a platform like this, or if I had some other current master students who could help me understand the complete process, who could help me guide what to do, what not to do, it would have made my life a lot simpler. So getting an opportunity to help others go through this journey is one of the prior things. So I definitely would be happy to help the other students who are looking forward to pursue masters. It's not a problem of time management at all.
Okay. And another question that I often get from aspiring student is that how many experts can I connect to? So to answer that, you can connect to a couple of experts, and while making connection, I would the best way to go would be to keep the university wherein you want admission. So if you have a list of 5-7 universities, then you can just go there and connect with the expert from that university, and maybe once the connection is established, you can chat with them, and if you think they would be the right person to answer your questions and concern, then in that case you can always hire them. And Other than that, another interesting question that we get from aspirant is that how do we how do they believe us if Parshwa is a real student? so so as I said in our earlier conversation that the expert from US University can only sign up as only sign up with their college email ID and not with their Gmail or Yahoo or the Facebook ID. So that's what it is. And I think this was really helpful, Parshwa. Thank you so much for your time. And I would like to thank our audience for all the interesting questions that they asked. And also, in case if they want to know more about Santa Clara University, they can always connect with Parshwa one-on-one, or they can always write the questions and concern which could be related to that university on the platform. And other than Parshwa, there could be other experts to answering your questions. So, as we have shown in the demo, how you can go and register. So please go ahead and do it. And your feedback and your questions are really valuable to ConnectBud. Thank you so much, everyone. And thank you